Listen carefully. Heaven has paused time itself to speak to you right now. Everything around you, every sound, every distraction has been silenced for this one purpose, so that you can hear this divine message. You were not brought here by accident. You were guided here because heaven is releasing a word meant only for those chosen to carry it. There are messages for the crowd, and then there are messages for the chosen, and this one is for you. You have felt the pull for weeks now. That quiet stirring in your spirit you couldn't explain. The sudden moments of awareness when it seemed as though the universe itself was trying to get your attention. That wasn't random. That was heaven whispering your name. It's been calling you, pulling you, positioning you because your time has come. You are standing at the edge of a divine threshold. Heaven has assigned you to this generation for a reason. Your presence on this earth is not a coincidence. It's an answer to a spiritual need. There are battles being fought in realms you cannot see, and you have been chosen to carry light into those places. But before heaven can release you into your full assignment, you must listen. You must open your spirit. What you are hearing now is not entertainment. It is a decree from heaven itself. You have been marked, sealed, and sent. The warfare that surrounded your life was not punishment. It was proof that the enemy saw your potential before you did. From childhood, the difference in you was visible. The way people misunderstood you. The way you always felt slightly out of place. Even when surrounded by others, it was all a sign. Heaven hid you in plain sight, shaping you through pain, molding you through rejection, preparing you through silence. The nights you cried alone were heard by angels. The times you questioned your worth were moments when heaven whispered back, "You are not forgotten. You are in process." There's a reason your spirit never settled for ordinary. You were never meant to fit in because you were born to stand out. You were not designed for imitation, you were designed for revelation. Heaven doesn't send duplicates. You are a divine original, carved out of eternity, placed in time for such a moment as this. The storms you've endured were not signs of weakness, but confirmation of calling. You thought the pressure would break you, but in truth, it was forming something inside you, faith that cannot be faked, strength that cannot be stolen, courage that cannot be bought. The fire refined you. The darkness taught you to see. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." This is the divine truth that echoes through your spirit. Now you were known before you ever took your first breath. The world met you on one day, but heaven knew you since eternity. Every detail of your life has been orchestrated for this moment. The shaking you felt lately is not destruction, it's alignment. Heaven is adjusting your position to fit the pattern of your purpose. Right now, heaven is breathing over your spirit again. The same spirit that hovered over the waters in Genesis is hovering over your life, whispering, "Let there be light." Everything that was chaotic is finding order again. Everything that was broken is being restored. You are being realigned with your destiny. This word is not just information, it's activation. Heaven doesn't waste words. The fact that your eyes are reading this right now means you were meant to hear it. God is confirming that you are His chosen vessel. You may not feel qualified, but divine selection was never about perfection, it's about willingness. You have been hidden long enough. The waiting season was necessary, but it's ending. The door you couldn't open before will open not because of your strength, but because heaven now decrees its time. God is about to vindicate every silent season and every misunderstood moment. What once looked like loss will soon reveal itself as preparation. Before you scroll away, pause. This is sacred ground. You are standing under an open heaven. Angels are watching. The Spirit is stirring, and heaven is waiting for your response. If your spirit bears witness that this word is for you, if something inside you says, "This is me," then act in faith right now. Comment below the prophetic number 777 as a sign that you receive this message, that you agree with heaven's timing, that you step boldly into your calling. And as you do, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because every time this word spreads, darkness loses ground and light multiplies. Your story begins here. The interruption is over. The assignment begins. You were never ordinary. You may have tried to blend in, to silence the difference burning inside you, but no matter how you disguised it, heaven could still see the mark. You were never random. Your existence is intentional. Your design divine. From your first breath, a fingerprint of eternity was pressed upon your spirit, and all of creation recognized it. That's why normal never fit you. That's why average never satisfied you. Deep within you, the echo of divine purpose has always whispered, "You are more than this." Every season of your life has testified to that truth, even when you couldn't see it. The times you were left out, misunderstood, or overlooked were never rejection, they were redirection. Heaven was protecting your anointing by keeping you hidden from premature exposure. If the world had celebrated you too early, the weight of applause might have crushed what was still being formed. But because you were chosen, God allowed you to be developed in silence. There were moments when you thought He had forgotten you, when doors stayed closed, and opportunities slipped through your hands. But in the unseen realm, something greater was being written. God was crafting your story in a way that required patience, not speed, faith, not force. He was not denying you. He was preparing you. When you look back, you'll realize that the very seasons you called wilderness were the ones where heaven spoke the loudest. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Your pain was never wasted. Every disappointment taught you discernment. Every heartbreak sharpened your spirit. Every loss purified your motives. Heaven was sculpting a vessel that could carry fire without burning out. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 9. He has saved us and called us to a holy calling, not because of anything we have done, but because of His own purpose and grace. That calling, your holy calling, has always been bigger than you. It isn't about titles or platforms. It's about impact, transformation, and obedience. Heaven chose you not because you were the strongest, the loudest, or the most qualified, but because you were willing to yield. You carry an assignment that stretches beyond what the eye can see. Every step of your journey has been a rehearsal for your moment of release. You've been asking, why do I feel so different? Why can't I do what everyone else does and feel peace? The answer is simple, because you are set apart. You've been marked for sacred things. What satisfies others will never satisfy you, because your spirit is tuned to heaven's frequency. The things that break God's heart will break yours. The things that move His Spirit will stir yours. That's how you know you're not ordinary. You are evidence of divine intention walking in human form. And yes, the difference comes with weight. There's a loneliness to being chosen, You've carried burdens you couldn't explain, felt heaviness in rooms where everyone else seemed fine. You sensed danger others ignored, saw truth others mocked. At times, you wished you could turn it off. But that sensitivity is your spiritual radar. It's proof of your anointing, not a flaw in your design. Heaven trusts you with awareness because it knows your heart can handle revelation. There will always be those who don't understand your fire, who misinterpret your silence or question your calling. But their misunderstanding does not cancel heaven's choice. You are not defined by their acceptance. You are defined by his appointment. The approval of people is temporary, but the mark of God is eternal. So, walk with quiet confidence. You don't need to announce what heaven has already decreed. In time, fruit will speak louder than words. The anointing on your life will draw what belongs to you and repel what doesn't. Don't chase validation. It will come looking for you once your light starts to break through the clouds. You are stepping into a season where the things that once made you feel isolated will become the very qualities heaven uses to elevate you. Your uniqueness is your key. Your sensitivity is your strength. The part of you you once called too much is exactly what the Spirit intends to use to set others free. Remember, the chosen are always refined differently. Their fire burns hotter. Their tests last longer. Their wilderness feels deeper, but their glory shines brighter. You are not behind schedule. You are being aligned with divine timing. When heaven finishes shaping what it started, even your scars will tell stories of purpose. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to be. You were chosen, and soon the world will see why. You are stepping into the unveiling now. What was hidden will be seen. What was delayed will be released. Heaven's timing is perfect. Your moment has finally arrived. Stand firm. Do not shrink back. Every breath you take now carries purpose. The same God who called you is about to confirm you before many. There are battles that no one saw, silent wars that raged behind your smile, where your faith was the only weapon left standing. The world saw your composure, but heaven saw your struggle. You kept walking when it hurt. You kept believing when everything shouted, "Give up." And that perseverance has not gone unnoticed. Heaven keeps records of endurance, every tear, every whispered prayer, every night you held on by a thread. None of it was wasted. The truth is, your warfare was never random. You weren't under attack because you were weak. You were attacked because you were dangerous to darkness. The enemy always recognizes divine potential before people do. He saw the light in you long before you did. That's why the pressure came so early. Why opposition always seemed to find you. Hell doesn't waste its weapons on the unthreatening. The fact that you faced so much resistance is proof that you carry something sacred. You have walked through fires that would have destroyed others, and you're still standing. That's not luck, that's grace. Grace kept you when strength failed. Grace spoke when you had no words. Grace wrapped itself around you in moments when you felt invisible. You've been through the kind of pain that could have hardened your heart. But instead, it purified it. It made you gentle, yet strong, humble, yet unshakable. You are a living testimony that broken doesn't mean finished. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." That verse is your reminder. You were never promised ease, you were promised victory. Every trial you've survived has been training. Heaven has been building endurance into your spirit, teaching you to walk by faith and not by sight. You've been learning how to trust God in dark rooms, where there's no applause, no spotlight, no recognition, only obedience. And that obedience is about to bear fruit. The tears you sowed in private are about to produce a public harvest. Those who doubted you will watch in awe as God vindicates your name. You don't have to explain yourself anymore. Heaven is about to do the explaining for you. The very situations that broke you are becoming the testimonies that will bless others. What once felt like loss will become language for someone else's deliverance. Remember the nights when you whispered, "Why me?" God, the answer was always the same: because you can handle what others can't. Because what was meant to destroy you became the soil where your roots deepened. You learned how to stand when the ground shook. You learned how to worship in warfare, how to praise through pain. And that's what makes you unstoppable. Don't resent the process. Every storm was a lesson. Every silence was a classroom. Heaven wasn't ignoring you, it was educating you. You've been trained in unseen spaces for visible impact. What others learn in comfort, you learned in battle. That's why your words carry weight. They come from a place of fire-tested faith. Now the same fire that once burned you will ignite others. Your story is fuel for the weary, hope for the hopeless, strength for the broken. You are not just a survivor, you are a forerunner. You walked through the valley so you could lead others out. Every scar is proof of survival, and every victory is prophecy of more to come. When you speak, heaven will back your voice, because your authority was forged in endurance. What once felt like isolation was divine impartation. You've been entrusted with wisdom that can't be taught in comfort, it's learned only in pressure. So don't hide your story. Speak it. Let your pain become purpose. Let your past become power. If this message resonates deep in your soul, comment "I overcame" below. Write it as a declaration of faith, not pride. Say it because you recognize what God brought you through every sleepless night, every hidden tear, every silent victory. When you type those two words, you're not just acknowledging survival, you're prophesying strength for the next chapter. You're announcing to the heavens and to every dark force that you did not fall, you rose. When you comment "I overcame," you are not typing words, you are releasing a testimony into the atmosphere. Every letter declares that what tried to destroy you has failed. Heaven hears it as worship. Hell hears it as defeat. It is your way of saying, "The storm came, but I'm still standing. The fire burned, but it didn't consume me." Those two words carry prophetic weight. They seal the chapter of pain and open the gates of purpose. When you write "I overcame," you are stepping into your authority as a conqueror, aligning your voice with the victory Christ already won for you. You are echoing heaven's decree that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Say it boldly. Say it with faith. Say it for every version of you that refused to quit. The enemy recognized you first. Long before you understood your own calling, darkness identified your light. It saw the glow of purpose around your spirit and moved swiftly to suppress it. Every early battle you faced, every strange opposition, every door that shut without reason, none of it was accidental. It was an attempt to silence a threat. You were marked not for destruction, but for destiny. From your earliest memories, you sensed resistance that others never had to face. It seemed unfair, didn't it? Others took shortcuts. Yet you faced obstacles on every side. But what looked like unfairness was actually favor in disguise. The enemy attacks what he fears, and he feared what would happen if you ever realized who you truly are. You weren't fighting random storms, you were enduring strategic warfare. The forces that came against you were not reacting to who you were then, but to who you were destined to become. That is why the pressure felt relentless. That's why the rejection was so personal. Because the darkness that tried to silence you could already see the light that would one day expose it. You have to understand the moment God places purpose on a person, the spiritual realm responds. Heaven prepares the way, but hell prepares resistance. Your calling activated attention in both realms. That's why sometimes life felt like a battlefield even before you knew you were enlisted. The enemy saw your assignment before you did. He studied your potential, tested your resilience, and tried to plant doubt early, hoping you'd disqualify yourself before your mission began. But what he underestimated was your endurance. He didn't expect you to survive the nights of confusion. He didn't expect your heart to keep beating after betrayal. He didn't expect your spirit to keep praying when it felt unheard. Yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still chosen. The very endurance he tried to break became your weapon. Every battle forged a new layer of strength, a new depth of faith, a new level of spiritual maturity, according to what is revealed in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. Those words aren't just comfort, they're confirmation. Your trials don't disprove your righteousness, they confirm it. Being chosen doesn't exempt you from affliction, it guarantees deliverance. The more intense the battle, the more certain the victory. Every struggle has been a setup for divine demonstration. The enemy didn't come for your possessions, he came for your purpose. He wanted to wear down your hope, blur your identity, and convince you that survival was enough so that you'd never step into victory. But heaven has reversed the assignment. What was meant to silence you is about to amplify your voice. What was meant to bury you is becoming the very soil from which you rise. You are not defined by the wounds inflicted against you, but by the wisdom they produced in you. The battle shaped you, refined you, and stripped you of illusions. You learned who to trust, what to release, and how to discern truth in chaos. You've gained what only warfare can teach: divine strategy, spiritual awareness, and unwavering confidence in God's sovereignty. It's time to see yourself differently now. Stop looking at your scars as signs of weakness. They are evidence of survival. They are your credentials in the Spirit. Heaven recognizes the marks of the chosen, the ones who fought through darkness and refused to let go of the light. Those scars speak of victory, not defeat. They tell the story of a soul that was tested and did not crumble. Understand this truth: if the enemy could have destroyed you, he already would have. The fact that you are reading these words is evidence that he failed. You are living proof that divine protection is stronger than any demonic plan. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is the power that preserved you through every attack. You don't owe explanations to anyone who misjudged your struggle. Let your survival speak. Let your peace be your statement. The more the enemy tried to silence you, the more heaven prepared to amplify you. Soon, what once caused pain will become your platform. What once brought shame will release testimony. So, walk boldly now. The battle was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to reveal you. You have authority now, not because you escaped warfare, but because you endured it. You are not fragile anymore, you are fortified. You carry the scent of victory, the calm of one who has walked through storms and found peace in their midst. You are proof that light cannot be extinguished, that purpose cannot be erased, that what God ordains, no darkness can overthrow. The enemy recognized you first, but heaven will reveal you last. The crown of endurance rests upon your head, even if you can't feel its weight yet. Every storm you survived has polished it, every tear you shed has shaped it. You may not see the radiance in yourself, but heaven sees it clearly, a light that only comes from those who refuse to give up. You didn't just survive hardship, you were refined by it. The fire that threatened to consume you has become the very glow that now surrounds you. Endurance has built something eternal within you. It has carved your faith into stone, written your trust upon the walls of heaven. You have become stronger than the pain that tried to break you, wiser than the confusion that once blinded you, and calmer than the chaos that once ruled you. Heaven watches closely when endurance is tested. Angels stand witness when a soul chooses faith over fear, persistence over comfort. Every moment you wanted to quit but didn't, those became songs in heaven's halls, melodies of victory that never stop echoing. The truth is, God never abandoned you in those long nights of silence. He was engraving strength into your spirit, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 13. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. Those words are not simply a warning, they are a promise. The crown you wear is not made of gold or jewels. It's forged from perseverance, from faith that did not collapse when the world did. The crown of endurance is invisible to eyes that look for glamour, but unmistakable to heaven. It shines in humility, patience, and gratitude. You may not know it, but your story has already been touching others. Your persistence gives hope to those who are tired. Your quiet strength encourages those who think they have no more to give. You have become a living testimony of divine resilience. When you speak, even without trying, others feel peace. That is the mark of a true overcomer. So now, as this word reaches you, I want to remind you, you are not walking alone. You are part of something sacred, a growing circle of light. People who carry the same fire, the same faith, the same calling to shine hope into dark places. Every time you like, every time you share, every time you subscribe, you are not just pressing a button, you are planting a seed of light. You're letting this flame leap from your hands into someone else's midnight. If this message has found you in your rebuilding season, let it move through you. Hit like as a sign of agreement. Share it so another soul might find their strength again. Subscribe so you never miss the sound of heaven's whisper calling your name. And to those whose hearts are asking quietly, how can I help keep this fire burning? The answer is tender and simple. Sow into the flame. When you give, you are not paying a fee. You are pouring oil into a lamp. Each drop of generosity keeps the message alive for those who need it most. There is no demand here, only invitation. Give only if your spirit feels that holy nudge, that gentle warmth saying, "This light carried me, I want it to carry others." Your donation becomes more than money, it becomes a spark that lights another lantern in the dark. You are not giving to a person, you are giving to purpose. You are helping heaven reach another heart that might have been about to quit. you are extending the same grace that reached you. So when you feel led, give, share, like, subscribe. Do it not out of duty, but out of delight. Do it because you believe in the ripple of light, because you understand that one act of love can move through generations unseen. The crown of endurance is not only for surviving, it's for helping others stand again. Your faith, your click, your prayer, your seed, they are all lamps in God's vast night sky. Together, they become constellations of hope. Keep shining, keep sharing, keep sowing love where darkness once reigned. Because when endurance gives birth to generosity, heaven smiles and the flame only grows brighter. You've carried the flame through storms, but now the wind is shifting in your favor. What once resisted you will begin to propel you. The season of surviving is turning into the season of shining. Your endurance has become your announcement that breakthrough is here. Every step forward now drips with divine purpose. Heaven is aligning moments, people, and opportunities that were once scattered. You will find yourself at the right place, at the right time, doing the very thing you were born to do. So keep the fire alive, protect it, feed it with faith, kindness, and obedience. Every small act of love adds oil to your lamp. And as you shine, remember you are proof that endurance creates glory, and that light always wins. The call you can't ignore is growing louder. It's not the sound of pressure, it's the sound of purpose, awakening. You felt it tugging at your heart. Haven't you, that holy restlessness that refuses to let you settle where you are? You've tried to quiet it, to reason with it, to tell yourself that maybe you imagined it. But deep down, you know, this is not imagination. This is divine invitation. You have reached the point where delay becomes disobedience. Heaven has been patient. But now it's time to respond. The next chapter of your life isn't waiting for more confirmation, it's waiting for your obedience. What you've been praying for will only unlock when you move. This is not about rushing ahead, it's about saying yes. Heaven doesn't need your perfection, it needs your participation. You've been asking for signs, but the truth is, the signs have been surrounding you. The closed doors were guidance. The interruptions were protection. The silence was instruction. Heaven's voice isn't always thunder, it's often the still whisper that refuses to fade. According to the Word of God in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19, I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. That verse carries the heartbeat of heaven. Right now, choose life. Choose obedience. Choose faith over fear. Heaven is extending a choice, not forcing a command. Every destiny begins with one yes. Every breakthrough starts with one step of trust. God won't push you, but He will position you, and now, He's waiting for your response. You've been standing at the edge for too long, holding on to what's safe while longing for what's sacred. You know that comfort is your cage, yet still you hesitate. But listen carefully. The anointing that once made you comfortable now demands movement. When heaven calls, staying still becomes suffocating, because your spirit outgrows old seasons before your body does. This is your moment to move, even if you're trembling. Every great calling begins with a trembling yes. Noah built an ark before the rain came. Abraham left home without a map. Mary said yes before she saw the miracle. You don't need all the answers, you just need obedience. The longer you wait, the heavier the call will feel. Not because God is angry, but because purpose keeps pressing until you surrender. You were created to respond, not to resist. That's why your peace feels incomplete when you try to ignore it. The voice you keep hearing in your spirit is not random, it's the echo of eternity, reminding you that you are chosen for this. You may feel unqualified, but heaven loves using the unlikely. God doesn't call the perfect, He perfects the called. He takes ordinary vessels and fills them with extraordinary purpose. You may not see it yet, but everything you've walked through was shaping the yes inside you. Every trial softened your heart. Every delay tested your trust. Every disappointment prepared your discernment. So, here it is, the call that will not let you go. Heaven is saying, now, not tomorrow, not when everything makes sense now, because obedience is always about timing, and delay can close doors that faith would have opened. Don't mistake hesitation for humility. Sometimes what you call waiting on God is really God waiting on you. You've prayed for direction, He's asking for decision. You've asked for signs, He's asking for surrender. You've asked for strength, He's asking for faith. The next move is yours. And when you move, everything will shift. The unseen realm will realign. Favor will find you. And divine acceleration will follow. The resources you've been waiting for will appear once obedience begins. Heaven never funds rebellion, but it always supports obedience. If this word stirs your spirit, let it be your act of agreement to comment the prophetic number 444 below. That number symbolizes divine order, heaven bringing alignment to every part of your life. When you type it, do it as a prophetic declaration. I choose obedience. I choose alignment. I choose life. This isn't superstition, it's symbolism. Heaven responds to faith made visible. When you comment, you're saying, I'm ready. And heaven listens to readiness. The call has been echoing long enough. Now it becomes a commissioning. Step forward and watch what obedience unlocks. Heaven has already prepared the way. All that's missing is your yes. When you comment 444, you are not just typing a number, you are aligning your spirit with divine order. It is your silent yet powerful yes to heaven's direction. Your way of saying, I choose to walk where God leads me. That number represents balance, body, soul, and spirit moving in harmony under God's will. When you write 444, you're declaring that chaos no longer rules you, and peace now governs every step you take. So, type it with faith. Let it be your covenant with obedience. Your signature on heaven's invitation. This is your moment of agreement with destiny. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle trembling in your spirit, the sign that something unseen is shifting. For so long you've carried what was never meant to stay. You've worn invisible chains made of memory and fear. Yet heaven is whispering. It ends here. The breaking doesn't always arrive with thunder. Sometimes it comes as a breath. A quiet release that changes everything. There was a time when you mistook heaviness for strength. You thought endurance meant holding on. But heaven is teaching you that true strength is learning how to let go. The chains that held you were never physical. They were forged from words that wounded you, disappointments that haunted you, and guilt that whispered you were not enough. Yet the moment light touches iron, even metal remembers how to melt. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 107, verse 14, He brought them out of darkness and the shadow of death, and broke their chains in pieces. That promise is alive in you now. Heaven is not asking for effort, it's asking for surrender. Because surrender is not defeat, it is cooperation with freedom. The moment you stop clutching the fragments of your past, your hands are finally free to hold the future. There are memories that once felt sacred, but have now become prisons. There are names you keep rehearsing in pain, and scenes that replay when the night grows quiet. But every replay is a link in the chain. The key is forgiveness, not the shallow kind that pretends, but the deep kind that releases. Forgiveness is how you drop the weight without losing your heart. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. You keep punishing yourself for decisions made in darkness when you didn't yet understand the light. But God never called you to be your own jailer. He calls you redeemed, not ruined. The moment you confess what hurt you, the locks begin to turn. Mercy doesn't negotiate, it simply enters and opens every door. Freedom doesn't arrive all at once. It moves through layers, touching thought after thought, until even your silence feels lighter. One morning you will wake up and realize that the bitterness has no sound anymore, that the memories no longer sting. That's not forgetfulness, that's healing. Heaven doesn't erase the past, it transforms it into testimony. You have been taught to survive, now you are learning to breathe. You will discover that peace is not the absence of battle, but the presence of alignment. Every time you choose peace over retaliation, another chain falls. Every time you bless what once cursed you, another door swings open. Every time you choose gratitude in place of grief, light enters where darkness once lived. Do not rush the process. Breaking takes time. Even gold must pass through heat before it shines. There will be moments when the enemy whispers that you are still bound, but lies lose power when confronted by truth. And the truth is, simple freedom is already written into your story. You're not trying to earn it, you're remembering it. Lift your eyes now. The same God who led captives out of Egypt is leading you out of your inner Egypt, the habits, fears, and attachments that kept you small. What you're leaving behind isn't part of your identity. It's only the shell that cracked so light could escape. This is the turning point. You're walking away from the echo of bondage and toward the music of freedom. The sound may be faint at first, like chains hitting the floor in the distance, but soon it will become a song, the anthem of one who has finally remembered they were born unbound. And when you take your next breath, know this: heaven hears it as a victory shout. The breaking has begun, and nothing can bind you again. Freedom is not just the absence of chains, it is the awareness of choice. Every morning from now on, you will wake with that sacred knowledge: I am free to begin again. No past mistake has the authority to define a future written by grace. You will walk differently now. Your steps will sound lighter, your voice clearer, your heart quieter. The same roads that once reminded you of pain will now remind you of how far you've come. What once felt like a prison will become the proof of resurrection. And when others see you, they will notice it before you speak, the peace that doesn't shout but radiates. You won't need to explain your freedom. It will speak through your gentleness, your patience, your joy that refuses to fade. You are not who you were yesterday. You are the one who walked out of the storm carrying the key of grace. The door behind you has closed, and heaven has written a new name upon your spirit, free. There is a stirring within you, a heat that begins quietly, almost like the pulse of something ancient awakening. You felt it before, a flicker in the chest, a sudden urge to rise, to do more, to become what you once only imagined. That is not ambition, it is the holy fire. Heaven is breathing on your spirit again, and everything dormant is beginning to burn. For years, the flame inside you was small, hidden beneath layers of fear and disappointment. Life tried to smother it. People misunderstood it. Even you questioned if it was still there. Yet fire from heaven never dies. It only waits for permission to rise. Every spark of conviction you felt lately, every restless night where your heart refused to sleep, has been that flame whispering, "Let me out." The Word of God declares in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 20, verse 9, "His word was in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I was weary of holding it in. Indeed, I could not." That verse describes you perfectly now. You've reached the point where silence no longer fits, where fear no longer belongs. You were never meant to carry the fire, you were meant to release it. The world around you doesn't need your perfection, it needs your ignition. It needs the sound of your courage, the light of your obedience, the warmth of your faith. Fire transforms whatever it touches. Once heaven lights a person, they cannot remain the same. The timid become bold, the weary become warriors, the uncertain become unstoppable. This is what happens when the holy flame awakens. It consumes what is false and refines what is true. The same heat that burns away doubt also reveals gold. Do not fear the burning. It is not meant to destroy you. The fire of God does not annihilate, it purifies. It removes the layers that never belonged to you, the false identities you adopted to survive. You are not meant to live small to make others comfortable. You were born to blaze, to carry divine warmth into cold places. You may ask, but what if I fail? The truth is, the fire within you will not allow it. Even if you fall, it will rise through the ashes. The holy flame is stubborn. It revives what others call finished. You could walk through the deepest valley and still come out glowing. Because when God sets a fire, no storm can extinguish it. There will be moments when this awakening feels overwhelming. Passion will rise faster than clarity. Desire before direction. That's how fire behaves. It moves first. It spreads. It claims territory before the mind can map it. Do not rush to control it. Learn to steward it. The goal isn't to tame the flame, but to carry it without burning out. How? By remaining connected to the source. Every flame needs fuel. Yours is found in presence, in prayer, in worship, in stillness before God. Those moments you spend in quiet surrender are not wasted. They are your refueling stations. The world will see the fire, but heaven will know the altar where it was kept alive. Understand this. You are entering a season where passion and purpose will collide. You will begin to sense divine urgency to speak when you'd rather stay silent, to act when you'd rather wait, to love when you'd rather hide. That is not impulsiveness, it's obedience in motion. The fire inside you does not wait for conditions to be perfect. It simply says, now. And when you step out, heaven will meet you there. Doors will open where none existed. Favor will follow your footsteps like oxygen follows flame. You won't need to force your way forward. Fire creates its own path. It melts resistance. It demands space. The same spirit that ignited prophets and apostles is the one igniting you now. Do not compare your flame to another's. Some burn quietly like candles, offering steady light. Others blaze like torches, setting whole regions ablaze. Both are vital. Both are divine. The size of the flame doesn't determine its worth. The source does. What matters is that your fire stays pure, that it burns from love, not ego, from compassion, not control. And remember, fire draws attention, both from heaven and from darkness. Some will be drawn to your light, others will be threatened by it. Don't dim yourself to stay accepted. Every spark that intimidates darkness fulfills purpose. Let opposition confirm your anointing. The brighter you burn, the more clearly heaven can be seen through you. So let it rise now. Let the fire speak through your prayers, your actions, your kindness, your voice. Let it reach the weary and warm the broken. Let it consume every trace of fear that told you to hide. You were not made to survive quietly. You were made to ignite generations. And when people ask what changed, you will smile and simply say, the fire finally found its way out. There is a reason your voice has been stirring lately. You feel it rising in your chest, the urge to speak, to declare, to cry out what heaven has been whispering in private. It is no longer a choice. It is a divine compulsion. You are becoming the voice in the wilderness. The world has enough noise, but what heaven seeks is a sound, one that carries truth. Not volume, conviction, not confusion. That is what you carry. Your words were never ordinary. They were arrows of light, sent to pierce darkness. Every time you spoke truth, something unseen trembled. Every time you prayed for others when no one saw, something shifted. Heaven has been training your voice for this exact hour. You have lived long enough in silence, holding back what you were meant to release. Fear taught you to be quiet. Rejection told you your words wouldn't matter. But those lies have expired. The time for silence is over. The world needs the sound of your obedience, not your perfection. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Amos, chapter 3, verse 8. The lion has roared, who will not fear? The sovereign Lord has spoken, who can but prophesy? That's what you feel right now, that roaring within you. It's not anger, it's awakening. Heaven's roar inside a human heart. You've been called to speak life where there's been silence, to bring clarity where confusion reigned, to declare hope where despair took root. You don't need a pulpit, a title, or a crowd, just courage. The wilderness doesn't need volume, it needs truth. When you open your mouth, you are not just speaking words, you are releasing light. Your story carries authority because it was written in pain and sealed in perseverance. Every struggle you endured became vocabulary for deliverance. That's why your words will carry power. They are dipped in authenticity, refined by fire, and backed by heaven. Do not wait for perfect timing. The moment you speak, timing becomes perfect. The world doesn't need a polished voice. It needs a prophetic one, and you already carry that sound. Every time you declare hope, darkness loses ground. Every time you bless instead of curse, the spiritual atmosphere shifts. You are not just one voice among millions, you are a voice heaven recognizes. You've been asking, "Why me?" And heaven replies, "Because you listened when others didn't." That sensitivity you once thought was weakness has always been your strength. It made you a listener before it made you a messenger. Now, God is turning your listening into speaking. You will begin to notice divine moments, times when the right words arrive at the right time for the right person. Don't hesitate. Speak. Those moments are heaven's openings. And yes, there will be times when your truth offends, when people misunderstand or withdraw. That's all right. The prophets before you faced the same. You are not called to please ears, you are called to pierce hearts. Speak gently but boldly, wrapped in grace but grounded in truth. The same Spirit that gave you revelation will give you restraint. Soon, your voice will start finding its tribe, people who recognize heaven's tone when they hear it. They won't follow you because of charisma, but because of conviction. They'll hear something ancient, something real, and they'll know this one carries fire. So, stand tall. Don't silence what God ignited. Don't shrink when your voice trembles. Even a whisper, when breathed by heaven, can move mountains. You are not just another speaker, you are a herald. You carry heaven's heartbeat in human language. And if this word resonates with your spirit, if you can feel that raw awakening within you, then comment, "I will speak," below. Write it as your declaration, your covenant with boldness. It's more than a phrase, it's a promise between your spirit and heaven's call. Type it with faith, and let it echo beyond this moment. For when you speak, chains break, not just around you, but through you. The wilderness has been waiting for your sound. When you write, "I will speak," you are doing more than typing words, you are opening a gate. Heaven sees those 3 words as surrender, as courage wrapped in faith. It is your way of saying, "I refuse to hide what God has placed inside me any longer." Each time you declare, "I will speak," you silence the voice of fear that once told you to stay quiet. You are reclaiming your voice from shame, insecurity, and doubt. It becomes a prophetic act, a signal to heaven that you are ready to be used, ready to carry light into the places still bound by silence. So type it boldly. Let those words be your roar in the wilderness, your spiritual signature written on the walls of destiny. When you declare, "I will speak," the unseen realm listens. Angels take position. Doors of opportunity begin to open. And your words, anointed and true, will begin to heal what silence once broke. The mantle of authority is being placed upon your shoulders. It doesn't arrive with applause or spotlight, it comes quietly, like dawn breaking after a long night. You may not have asked for it, yet heaven chose you for it. Authority doesn't begin with position, it begins with surrender. You have been entrusted with something eternal, divine influence, not to rule over, but to lift up, not to control, but to illuminate. You see, true authority is not about standing above others, it's about kneeling first. It's the weight of compassion that makes your voice powerful, the tenderness of your heart that makes your words carry heaven's tone. You have walked through storms not to boast of survival, but to speak peace into the storms of others. The oil on your life was not poured for comfort, it was poured for impact. The Word of God declares in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." That promise is not distant, it's personal. Heaven is reminding you of who you are, a carrier of divine authority, a vessel through whom power and love are revealed. You were never meant to live beneath fear, but to walk in dominion, not arrogance, but awareness. Authority isn't about shouting louder, it's about knowing who stands beside you. When you speak, atmospheres shift. When you pray, things move. When you walk into a room, peace enters, not because of your strength, but because of the one who sent you. Every battle you overcame, every moment you refused to quit, was heaven preparing you to handle this mantle without pride. The authority that comes from humility cannot be corrupted. Now, as this mantle settles on you, heaven calls you to steward it well. Let it be an instrument of healing, not control. Let your influence be like rain, gentle, refreshing, unstoppable. Don't force it, let it flow. The people who cross your path are not coincidences, they are assignments. Sometimes your smile will preach louder than any sermon. Sometimes your silence will carry more power than your words. As this message reaches your heart, I want you to imagine something simple yet sacred, a candle being passed from one hand to another. Each time someone touches this flame, light multiplies. That's what happens every time you help carry this word further. When you like, share, and subscribe, you're not just clicking, you're passing the candle. You're ensuring that light keeps traveling into places where it's still dark. Think of it this way, a single spark can start 1,000 fires. And your engagement is that spark. When you share, the light doesn't leave you, it doubles. You become both the messenger and the multiplier. And if your heart asks, how can I keep this flame alive for others? There's a quiet, beautiful answer. Pour oil into the lamp. Support it if you feel led, not because you must, but because your spirit stirs with gratitude. When you give, it's not a transaction, it's transformation. Every act of generosity becomes a drop of oil that keeps the flame steady in the winds of the world. If you feel prompted to donate, let it be as worship, not obligation. Think of your seed as a whisper to heaven saying, this light reached me, and I want it to reach another. There is no pressure, only invitation. Whether it's your prayer, your encouragement, or your gift, each offering carries eternal weight. Because together, we are building more than messages. We are building altars of hope across hearts and nations. Every small act of love, every share, every prayer, every offering adds another stone to the altar. And when light rests on that altar, heaven smiles. You are not supporting content, you are sustaining a movement of light. You are part of something greater than one voice. You are helping heaven speak to many. So if this message has strengthened you, like it so others might pause to listen. Share it so a wandering heart might find warmth again. Subscribe so you can keep walking with this stream of revelation. And if you feel led to donate, do it with joy. Not duty with the quiet, knowing that your oil will keep the fire alive. Let every click, every gesture, every seed be a flame saying, let light keep burning. Because in the end, the measure of authority is not how loudly we command, it's how faithfully we keep the fire of heaven alive in ourselves and in others. You wear this mantle now. Walk with it humbly. Speak with it gently. And use it to ignite love wherever your feet touch the earth. You are the keeper of a sacred flame, chosen not to impress the world, but to illuminate it. Every word, every act of kindness, is a spark that keeps heaven visible on earth. So walk gently, shine boldly, and never forget your light is proof that love still reigns. You have walked a long road of obscurity, often hidden in places where few could see your worth. It was not neglect, it was divine concealment. You were among the hidden ones, those whom heaven protects until the time is right. While others were building platforms, you were being built in silence. And though you questioned the stillness, that quiet was your preparation. God hides his strongest warriors before he reveals them. Just as seeds disappear beneath soil before they rise in bloom, you too were buried for a season, not to die, but to develop. Hidden seasons teach you how to hear when no one else is speaking, how to believe when no one is watching. They teach you endurance, discernment, and the ability to carry power without pride. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 2, "He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of his hand he hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver." That's what he did with you. You thought you were forgotten, but you were being sharpened. You thought delay was punishment, but it was refinement. Every invisible season was a forge, shaping your edges until you could pierce through darkness with precision. Heaven never wastes the hidden. In your silence, you learned to distinguish God's whisper from the world's noise. While others sought applause, you sought understanding. And because you waited in the shadows, you can now stand in the light without being blinded by it. The hidden ones are dangerous to darkness because they emerge humble yet powerful, gentle yet unshakable. There is a sacred beauty in being unseen for a time. The soil doesn't applaud the seed, yet it nourishes it. You were held in dark places, not to be forgotten, but to grow unseen roots strong enough to support visible fruit. The deeper the root, the greater the reach. You are about to stretch further than you imagined because you endured the depth first. You didn't know it then, but heaven was watching your obedience in the small things, the moments no one clapped for, the choices no one noticed. Every quiet yes became a record in eternity. Every act of integrity became another brushstroke on the canvas of your calling. God saw it all. You never went unnoticed in his eyes. Now, the season of concealment is shifting. The hidden ones are rising not in pride, but in purpose. Heaven is pulling back the curtain, revealing those who carried purity through pressure, who served when no one said thank you, who prayed when others played. You are among them. You have been preserved for such a time as this. When God reveals, he does not need announcement. He simply opens a door no man can shut. The same people who once overlooked you will soon see you differently, not because you changed, but because your time arrived. Heaven's spotlight is not like the world's. It does not blind or boast. It illuminates purpose. You will find yourself walking into opportunities that feel strangely familiar, as if you were born for them, and you were. Everything you learned in private will now be useful in public. Every scar will become strength for someone else's healing. You will speak words that carry weight because they were formed in the silence of surrender. But even in exposure, humility will remain your armor. The truly chosen never forget the shadows that shaped them. They carry remembrance like fragrance, the scent of sanctified silence. Your rise will not be loud, it will be steady, radiant, unstoppable. Those who once dismissed you will marvel, not because of you, but because of the unmistakable fingerprints of God upon your journey. So do not fear the unveiling. The same hand that hid you is the one revealing you. The same God who kept you unseen will now make you visible, but only for His glory. Visibility is not validation, it is assignment. Your reward is not recognition, but impact. You have carried the weight of hidden faith, and now heaven is rewarding it with visible fruit. You will move with quiet authority, healing with words, restoring with presence, influencing with love. You won't need to prove who you are, your fruit will speak. And when others ask, "Where did you come from?" you'll smile and answer softly, "From the shadow of His hand." For those who have waited, the wait is over. The hidden ones are rising, not to be seen, but to reveal the one who never stopped seeing them. The light will find you naturally, without striving. What once felt like confinement will now be recognized as consecration. You are stepping out of obscurity, not to be famous, but to be faithful in full view of heaven and earth. And when the world notices your rise, keep your gaze upward. The same God who revealed you will sustain you. Let humility guard your heart, and let grace guide your influence. You were hidden to become holy. Everything is shifting now. You can sense it. The air feels different. The silence heavier. The moments sharper. Heaven is moving pieces into place, aligning what once seemed scattered. The delay has lifted, and what was once withheld is being released. This is the prophetic shift, the moment when prayers turn into manifestation. For years, it felt as though you were standing still while everyone else advanced. You questioned if you missed your turn, if God somehow skipped your name. But what you didn't realize was that you were being positioned, not paused. Heaven was orchestrating behind the curtain while you learned patience in the shadows. There is a rhythm to divine timing. It doesn't rush, and it never hesitates. The world moves in minutes, but heaven moves in meaning. And now, meaning has found you. The appointed time has arrived. We are reminded through the writings of Habakkuk. Chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay." That promise is echoing right now. Everything that once felt stuck is suddenly unsticking. What seemed dormant is waking up. Heaven's schedule and your surrender have finally met. The waiting season was not wasted, it was womb time. God was forming the details of what you asked for, ensuring that when it arrived, it wouldn't crush you but complete you. Prophetic shifts often feel like contradictions before they reveal clarity. That's why confusion preceded your breakthrough. The tension you felt lately wasn't chaos, it was labor. Destiny was crowning. Purpose was pushing through. The discomfort you called pressure was heaven expanding your capacity. When heaven releases what's yours, it doesn't arrive in fragments, it arrives full, matured by time and tears. You won't have to chase what's meant for you. It will recognize you when you walk in alignment. The blessing will fit like it was tailored to your spirit, because in truth, it was. Right now, heaven is flipping the script. Closed doors are turning into divine detours. Missed chances are revealing themselves as mercies. The connections that fell apart are being replaced with covenants that can't be broken. The loneliness that used to sting will now feel like peace, because you finally understand it was separation for elevation. You're about to see how God redeems time. Every year you thought was lost will bear fruit. Every silent prayer will echo back with answers that exceed what you imagined. You will look back and realize delay was never denial, it was design. Prophetic shifts are rarely loud, they arrive subtly. Like sunrise, you won't need to announce it, life itself will testify. People will begin to say, "Something's different about you," not realizing they're witnessing prophecy fulfilled. But this moment demands awareness. You cannot carry the old mindset into a new season. When the shift comes, the first thing heaven changes is not your circumstance, it's your vision. You begin to see differently, to desire differently, to discern differently. What used to attract you will no longer interest you. That is how you know the shift is real, when the familiar loses its hold. You must stay sensitive to the signs. The Spirit will nudge you in small ways, a name on your heart, a door that feels weighty, an inner whisper saying, "Go now." Don't ignore it. Heaven's guidance rarely shouts. It hums softly inside the willing. And when you step into this new flow, gratitude must be your anchor. Pride repels what gratitude multiplies. Stay humble. Stay open. Stay teachable. You are walking into answered prayer. But remember, the same faith that brought you here must sustain you here. If you can feel this shift deep in your spirit, if everything inside you says this is my moment, then comment the prophetic number 222 below. It symbolizes divine alignment, partnership with heaven, and the union between your obedience and God's promise. When you type 222, let it be more than a number. Let it be your declaration that you recognize the shift, that you accept the timing, that you are ready to move with heaven's rhythm. This is not the beginning of your story. This is the unfolding of what was always written. The waiting has ended. The appointed time has come. Step forward, everything is aligning now. When you comment 222, you are not chasing coincidence, you are confirming covenant. Those 3 digits declare, I align with heaven's timing. I trust the unfolding. I agree with divine order. It is your silent yes to destiny's rhythm. Every time you write 222, you are marking your moment of agreement. You are saying, I step into balance, into partnership with God's plan for my life. Heaven reads those numbers as faith written in motion. Type it with intention. Whisper it with conviction. Let 222 become your symbol of surrender and readiness, proof that you are no longer waiting for perfect conditions, but moving in perfect trust. Fire refines. It does not ask for permission, and it never leaves anything untouched. Those who are chosen are always refined differently. The refining of the chosen is not punishment, it is purification. It is heaven's way of separating what is eternal from what is temporary, what is divine from what is merely comfortable. You have walked through a furnace of many kinds. Some were seasons of loss, others of silence, and still others of breaking that felt unbearable. Yet, here you are still standing, still believing. That in itself is proof that the fire was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal what could not be destroyed. The Word of God declares in the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9, I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. You are that refined one. The heat you felt was heaven's hands working, not wrath. Every flame that touched you was selective. It burned away pride, but preserved purpose. It consumed fear, but protected faith. Even when you cried out for mercy, heaven was molding strength. The pain that once made no sense is now beginning to form into wisdom. Fire teaches what comfort never could. It teaches surrender because when everything unnecessary melts away, only the essential remains. It teaches humility because you learn how little control you truly have. And it teaches love because only in the fire do you see what still holds its shape. Every test, every heartbreak, every lonely night became an altar. The tears you cried there were not wasted, they were liquid prayers, sanctified offerings. Heaven counts them as precious. For in those moments of burning, you became the gold heaven always saw hidden beneath the surface. The refining of the chosen happens quietly. There are no crowds around a furnace. No one applauds while you burn. Yet, when you emerge, everyone will see the shine and call it grace, never realizing what it cost you. That is the paradox of glory. It's always preceded by groaning. You have learned to bless even while being broken, to worship while waiting, to trust while trembling. That is the language of the refined. Those who come out of the fire don't speak loudly, they speak deeply. Their words carry weight because they have been purified by experience. There were moments when you wondered, why me? God, why so much pain for one person? But heaven saw further than you did. He saw a generation that would need your endurance as a map, your scars as direction. He allowed you to feel what others hide so that you could heal what others ignore. You were not chosen for comfort, you were chosen for clarity. Refinement is not about loss, it's about revelation. You didn't lose yourself in the fire, you found yourself there. The version of you that walks out of it is lighter, sharper, holier. The doubts that once ruled you no longer hold power. The wounds that once defined you have become proof of divine craftsmanship. Now, when you look at your life, you can see it clearly, the pattern in the pain, the purpose in the pruning. Nothing was wasted. Even the ashes are sacred. The fire didn't ruin you, it crowned you with resilience. There is something holy about being refined. You begin to see others differently. You no longer judge by appearances, because you know what it feels like to be judged while unfinished. You extend grace because you remember what it costs to receive it. Refinement doesn't make you proud, it makes you merciful. And though you may still feel the warmth of the coals, remember this fire is temporary, but what it reveals is eternal. You are walking proof that trials produce transformation. You are evidence that beauty can rise from what was burned. The refining of the chosen never truly ends, because gold keeps shining brighter the more it's polished. Every new challenge will bring a deeper purity, a deeper intimacy with God. But the fear of the flame is gone. Now you know what it is. It's not your enemy, it's your usher into glory. So, walk forward with peace. Let others see the light reflected in you and wonder where it came from. You can tell them the truth. It came from the fire. And when you look back on all you've endured, you will finally understand the flames that surrounded you were never meant to destroy you. They were heaven's way of saying, you are ready to shine. The fire no longer frightens you. It has become your language. You recognize its purpose now to transform, not to torment. What once felt like loss has revealed itself as divine purification, carving clarity where confusion once lived. And from this place of refinement, you no longer burn, you illuminate. Everywhere you go, warmth follows. The world sees the shine, but not the shaping. The light but not the furnace. Yet heaven knows you are gold made by grace. Something is shifting in the atmosphere again. But this time, it is not about you alone. You are beginning to sense the call of connection, the gathering of those who carry the same fire, the same faith, the same heavenly fragrance. The lone journey is ending, and a divine convergence is beginning. The gathering of warriors has quietly started. You have walked alone long enough. You know the ache of being misunderstood, the weariness of fighting unseen battles without allies. But heaven never intended for you to remain solitary forever. Even prophets need companions, and even warriors need an army. The isolation was preparation. The next chapter is collaboration. For so long, your prayers echoed in silence, yet they were never unanswered. Heaven was aligning hearts across distances, shaping others in secret the same way it shaped you. Now the appointed time has come, across nations, across languages, across every line humans have drawn. The chosen are recognizing each other by spirit. You will know them not by appearance, but by resonance. The moment your spirit hears another heart beating with the same rhythm as heaven's, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old, found in Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 9 to 10, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. That truth has never been more relevant than now. You are stepping into a season of divine partnership, of kingdom kinship. The warriors you meet in this time will not compete with you, they will complete you. Together you will form a wall of light, stronger than any darkness you've faced alone. This gathering is not loud or boastful. It doesn't announce itself with banners or noise. It happens in quiet introductions, unexpected meetings, shared tears, and mutual understanding. You will look into the eyes of another and recognize something ancient, the same flame you've carried through fire now reflected in theirs. That moment is holy. Heaven nods in approval, whispering, "You are no longer alone." In this divine community, you will find balance again. Where you are weary, others will be strong. Where they are uncertain, your faith will anchor them. The chosen were never meant to walk as isolated flames, but as a constellation, individual lights joining to reveal heaven's design. Every voice matters in this army of light. Some will pray in silence. Others will speak boldly. Some will build. Others will heal. Some will go before. Others will guard behind. Each role is sacred, each contribution eternal. The diversity of callings is not a sign of division, it's the beauty of divine coordination. You may be surprised by whom God places beside you. It may not be those you expected. Some will come from different paths, carrying different scars, but they will share your spirit. Unity in heaven's kingdom is never built on sameness, it's built on purpose. The same spirit that burned in you is calling them too. The enemy fears this gathering more than anything else, because unity multiplies power. One flame can light a room, but 1,000 can set a nation ablaze. That's why your isolation was so intense. The opposition was trying to prevent connection, but it failed. The time of convergence cannot be stopped, because heaven decreed it long ago. There will be joy in this season, holy laughter among those who have wept for years. There will be tears of recognition as warriors embrace for the first time, realizing they fought the same wars in different places. Testimonies will intertwine. Forming a melody, heaven has been waiting to hear the sound of victory shared. In this unity, there is rest. You no longer have to carry every burden alone. The weight is distributed now, the fire shared. When one grows weary, others will lift the flame higher. When one stumbles, hands will reach out without judgment. This is what divine family feels like, not perfection, but presence, not performance, but love. And as the army gathers, the earth itself will feel the shift. The fragrance of peace will begin to replace despair. The sound of intercession will rise like thunder, yet it will be born from tenderness. Heaven will smile upon this sight, its children moving as one, carrying light together into the night. This is not the end of solitude, it is the beginning of synergy. You will still have quiet moments with God, but now your prayers will echo through others too. The warrior's strength is no longer in how well they fight alone, but in how deeply they fight in unity. Remember this truth: iron sharpens iron, flame strengthens flame, and love multiplies light. What begins as a gathering will become a movement. What starts as fellowship will become transformation. You are not just one among many, you are part of something eternal, something rising. The gathering of warriors has begun, and heaven is watching with joy. There is a sacred silence before separation, the stillness that comes when heaven draws a line between the called and the chosen. You can feel that moment now, heavy but holy, like the hush before dawn. It is not rejection, it is refinement. The final separation is never about exclusion, it's about elevation. Heaven is distinguishing those who are willing to go deeper, to live with conviction, to love with purity. This is the moment when hearts are tested quietly, not through public trials, but through private choices. The chosen are not identified by miracles, but by obedience. They are the ones who still say yes when no one applauds, who still walk forward when the crowd turns back. God is separating noise from voice, movement from meaning, and faith from habit. Heaven is not dividing people, it's defining purpose. Some will stay at the surface of belief, but you are being called into depth. The separation feels lonely because few dare to go this far. It is the space between comfort and calling, between convenience and consecration. But in that space, heaven breathes differently. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 14, "For many are called, but few are chosen." Those words are both an invitation and a revelation. They are not meant to discourage, but to awaken. To be chosen is to be trusted to carry what others dropped, to love when others left, to remain faithful when others grew weary. Heaven's trust is weighty, but it's also wondrous. You have been entrusted with something eternal, the reflection of God's heart upon the earth. In this season, your loyalty will determine your legacy. The chosen are not recognized by how much they gain, but by how much they give. True greatness is not measured in crowns, but in kindness. Not in titles, but in tenderness. You were not chosen to rule, you were chosen to reveal. And as you hear these words, imagine for a moment a garden at sunrise. The gardener walks among the flowers, separating weeds from roots, pruning what must grow. It is a gentle act, not a harsh one. That is what heaven is doing now, tending the soil of your soul so that your purpose can bloom unhindered. In this divine pruning, there's also an invitation. Every time you like, share, or comment. You are not performing, you are planting. Each action becomes a seed dropped into this vast spiritual garden, allowing the message to reach hearts that still lie dormant. When you share, you scatter seeds of light into unknown soil. When you comment, you water them with connection. When you subscribe, you help the garden keep growing. Think of it this way: your engagement is not noise, it's nourishment. Just as rain awakens the earth, your interaction awakens hope in someone who might otherwise stay asleep. Somewhere, there's a heart scrolling through darkness, waiting for one spark, and your simple gesture could become that spark. And if you ever feel led to go beyond engagement, to help sustain this voice that has spoken life into you, do so as a gardener would pour water into a thirsty tree. Don't give out of pressure, give out of joy. Every drop becomes part of the river that carries this light farther. When you sow into the message, you're not supporting a platform, you're sustaining a mission. You're adding warmth to a flame that travels where you may never go, but where your generosity will echo. When you donate, see it as placing a stone upon an altar of gratitude. Each offering, each act of kindness, becomes a memorial of thankfulness to the God who carried you here. It's not about currency, it's about continuity. It says, I've been touched by this light, and I want it to keep shining for others. There is no demand in this, it's invitation, not obligation. Love gives because it overflows. Gratitude shares because it remembers. That's the rhythm of heaven, free hearts giving freely. And so, as heaven marks the chosen in this hour, remember this: every action born of love becomes part of your eternal record. Every seed of light you scatter adds fragrance to your legacy. Light because you believe light should travel. Share because someone else might be standing where you once stood. Comment because words connect souls. Subscribe because you want to stay near the flame that awakens your spirit. And give only if your heart whispers yes, because when generosity is born from peace, it multiplies without end. The final separation is not the end of unity, it is the beginning of purity. Heaven is drawing out the true ones, those who carry both light and love. And as you step into this sacred company, your every small act, your kindness, your comment, your compassion will ripple through eternity. Because in the end, what truly separates the chosen is not status or strength, but a heart that keeps choosing love. Over and over again, glory always follows surrender. You can sense it building around you now, a quiet weight. Not heavy, but holy. It feels like peace settling after a storm, like dawn softening the edges of night. This is the revelation of glory, the unveiling of what all the waiting, breaking, and refining were for. You've carried questions through seasons where answers refused to come. You wondered if God had forgotten, if your obedience had gone unnoticed. Yet heaven keeps its promises in silence before it announces them in light. What you're feeling now is fulfillment taking shape. The unseen has become visible, and the invisible hand that guided you through shadows is now revealing its masterpiece. The Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 18, "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." That glory is not something distant or detached. It's not a faraway crown or a future reward. It is here, beginning to unfold from within you. Glory is not given, it grows. It is the result of every yes you whispered in hardship, every tear that watered your faith, every act of obedience that no one saw. It's heaven's response to endurance. This glory does not announce itself with grandeur. It starts quietly, like light gathering beneath your skin. You'll notice it in how peace replaces panic, how compassion replaces judgment, how wisdom speaks louder than words. Glory transforms not just circumstances but character. It turns survivors into carriers of divine presence. You have been through the valley, but valleys teach vision. They train the eyes to recognize light. And now, as you rise, you carry a deeper sight, one that looks beyond pain into purpose. You can see what others miss, the fingerprints of God in ordinary places, the traces of grace in unexpected moments. That perception is glory. It's heaven's perspective living inside you. When glory comes, fear has no language left. The same situations that once terrified you will now testify for you. The same wounds that once bled will begin to shine. Scars are heaven's trophies, proof that pain bowed to purpose. You will begin to understand why the crushing was necessary. Oil only flows when the olive is pressed. Glory also redefines how you move. You no longer chase validation because glory itself becomes your covering. You don't strive for attention because you've discovered the power of presence. Wherever you go, peace will precede you. People won't know what it is, they'll just sense that something about you carries calm. That calm is glory, resting quietly on a soul that has finally yielded. It will also change how you speak. You will find yourself declaring life naturally, not from effort, but from overflow. You'll speak healing without trying, wisdom without rehearsal, love without condition. The glory of God is not a decoration, it's transformation expressed through simplicity. This is why the trials were so intense. The heavier the glory, the deeper the foundation must be. Had you been revealed too soon, the weight would have crushed you. But now you are anchored. You can carry what once would have broken you. Glory has made you strong, but softly, so strong enough to bear others' burdens, yet gentle enough to hold them with compassion. And yes, there will be those who see the change but cannot name it. Some will envy it. Others will draw near just to feel its warmth, but never forget where it came from. Glory is borrowed light. It belongs to the one who gave it. You are not its source, only its reflection. The world doesn't need to see you brighter. It needs to see him clearer through you. The revelation of glory is not a finish line, it's an awakening. You are realizing that everything you lost was making room for this presence, this peace, this power that now abides in you. Every closed door was heaven clearing space for light to dwell. So, walk slowly through this new season. Notice the beauty in what's unfolding. Let gratitude be your rhythm, humility your shield. The same God who brought you through the fire is now clothing you in light. You are no longer defined by your pain, but by his presence. And as you move forward, remember, glory is not something you strive to hold, it's something you live to reveal. Every word of kindness, every act of grace, every moment of mercy is a ray from that divine light. Keep shining. Not for recognition, but for reflection, because the world needs to remember what heaven looks like. The revelation has begun. You are no longer carrying ashes, you are carrying radiance. The light that once guided you will now shine through you, declaring silently to all creation, the glory has come, and it is here to stay. Glory will follow you quietly now, settling in your footsteps like sunlight after rain. Wherever you go, traces of heaven will remain, a gentle glow, a whisper of peace, a reminder that you have become the dwelling place of light. The journey has brought you here to the quiet edge of fulfillment, where heaven crowns the faithful not with gold, but with peace. You have walked through darkness, through doubt, through deserts where hope felt like a rumor. Yet through every season, heaven kept you. You are standing now at the threshold of divine completion, the coronation of the faithful. This coronation is not held in palaces or among crowds. It happens in the stillness of your spirit, where God Himself places an invisible crown upon your heart. You will not feel the weight of jewels, but the weight of grace. This is the reward of those who refuse to let go, the ones who stayed when others fled, who loved when it cost everything, who believed when faith seemed foolish. You have become the embodiment of endurance. Every scar, every silent prayer, every act of mercy when bitterness tempted you, otherwise they have become the gems of your crown. You are not being crowned for perfection, but for perseverance. Heaven celebrates not your strength, but your surrender. The Apostle reminds us in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7-8, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day. That day has dawned within you. The race continues, but the striving has ceased. You no longer chase approval, you carry assurance. You no longer seek signs, you are the sign. Your life itself has become the message, living proof that grace wins, that faith stands, that love outlasts everything. This crown is not a trophy to be admired, it is an identity to be lived. It doesn't make you higher than others, it calls you lower, into deeper service. The crowned ones are not recognized by splendor, but by servanthood. They kneel more than they stand, give more than they take, forgive faster than they are understood. True royalty is clothed in humility. Heaven's crowns are invisible, yet their radiance cannot be hidden. People will see something in you, peace that cannot be explained, joy that cannot be shaken, authority that flows from gentleness. You won't have to declare it, they will discern it. The fragrance of victory lingers wherever surrender has taken place. Now begins the era of overflow. You are no longer living from lack but from abundance, the abundance of wisdom, compassion, and spiritual depth. You will find yourself pouring into others effortlessly, because your cup no longer leaks. Every lesson, every pain, every refining moment has sealed your vessel so that nothing precious is wasted. You have been transformed from receiver to carrier. Once you sought blessings, now you become them. Once you needed miracles, now you walk as one. People will encounter you and feel peace without knowing why. That is the mark of the crowned, the quiet radiance of those who have seen God's goodness in the land of the living. But even now, remember this, the crown is not the end, it's the beginning of responsibility. Crowns are not meant to sit idle, they are meant to shine. You carry this glory not for display, but for distribution. You are a torchbearer now, a living continuation of divine fire passed through generations. This coronation is heaven's declaration, the vessel is ready. You have been tempered, purified, and prepared. You have learned how to stand, how to kneel, how to trust beyond understanding. Now you will move differently, not rushed, but radiant, not uncertain, but unwavering. There will still be challenges, but they will no longer shake you. The storms may still come, but you have learned the rhythm of stillness. When winds rise, you will not pray for them to stop. You will command peace. The authority you carry is not loud, it is rooted. It speaks softly, yet creation listens. The coronation of the faithful does not end with applause, but with quiet awe. You will sense heaven smiling, whispering, "Well done, beloved one, you stayed." The unseen witnesses, the angels, the cloud of the redeemed, rise in silent honor. Your journey becomes a testament not just of endurance, but of intimacy. Now, lift your eyes. The horizon glows with promise. The road continues. Yes, but now you walk not as a traveler seeking direction, but as a torchbearer lighting the path for others. What was once pain has become purpose. What was once burden has become blessing. This is the mystery of divine completion. Nothing is wasted, everything redeemed. You have reached the point where heaven's well done is not a sound but a state of being. Peace has become your crown, love your throne, service your kingdom. Walk on, crowned one. You are not at the end, you are at the beginning of glory. The world will see through you what faith looks like when it finishes well. If these words have walked beside you through the storms, if they've helped you remember that your light still burns, then let this moment be more than an ending, let it be a continuation. The message doesn't stop here. It only changes hands. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you are not feeding an algorithm, you are feeding a flame. Every gesture becomes a ripple of warmth, moving outward into a world that desperately needs it. Somewhere, someone scrolling through darkness might find light through the echo of your action. It's not performance, it's participation in purpose. And if your heart has been stirred to go deeper, to help keep the light alive for those still wandering, you can give. Not out of pressure, but out of gratitude. Think of it as planting another tree in a field of hope. Each seed of generosity, each drop of kindness, becomes part of the forest of light that continues to grow beyond you. You are not supporting a page, you are sustaining a movement, a living stream of words that have comforted hearts, awakened faith, and reminded souls that they were never forgotten. Every offering, every share, every prayer carries the same essence, love expressed. So before you go, take one small moment. Like this message if it touched you. Share it so that another heart may breathe again. Comment what it awakened in you. Your testimony could be the key to someone else's breakthrough. Subscribe to stay near this river of light, so that when the next word comes, it finds you ready. And if you feel led to sow into this work, do so with peace. Let your giving be poetry, a silent thank you to heaven for every whisper that found you when you needed it most. This is how light continues, one act of love at a time.